it's Laura from Laura's Handcrafted Treats and Treasures. Welcome to or back to my channel. All right, I have project number 6 in my little series of Christmas treat gift ideas for 2025. Now this idea came from one that I did last year using Miss Carolyn's papers. I will link that in the description box below. I wanted to make a little bit of a shorter version of that, so I reworked the measurements, and I am using her ATC Christmas kit. That was from last year. I'm also using, this was Golden Christmas, and this is the newer, this came from, was it the Quilted? Anyway, this is from Quilted Noel. I will have all the links in the description box below. So I'm going to show you how I shrunk this down to this. Okay, let's get started. I am going to leave this right here so you can grab a snapshot of it if you like. We're going to walk through these steps together, and I'm going to tell you what I am using. So for the base, I'm going to be using a black and a khaki colored cardstock, and I use this, and I think it's from, I want to say it's from Michael's, and it's a 65 pound, 176 GSM, and I usually get my basic colors in this for this type of thing. I use a heavier weight for my printing and for other stuff. In fact, we'll talk about that because I'm going to be using Miss Carolyn's Golden Christmas for this one. And this is printed off on Pen and Gear, 110 pound cardstock. I get it from Walmart. And then this was her a Christmas Quilted Noel. And I've used this in the last project, so I'm going to continue to use this. But we're going to get to the bases first. Okay, so if you have watched me at all, and I know I probably have some new people, but if you've watched me at all, you know I keep my template near and dear because I literally could look here and forget what I'm going to do here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make sure, let's see, this is the 8. I'm going to turn this on the 8.5 side. Okay, so the 8.5. Because this one is just the simple going across. And then it's going to be at 2. And if you've watched me, you know I hold my scoreboard this way because it's just more comfortable than trying to do this. So I hold it this way. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. Because you want to have this little lip for gluing it together. Now I'm going to turn that to the 8-inch side, and then I'm going to bring this back in, and I'm going to follow my guide. I'm going to go 2-inch, and I'm going to go 4-inch, and then for this little crease, I'm going to turn this over, you know, so you get your mountain valley. And I'm going to do it at 4.5 and turn it back. Then I will be doing a, let's see, 4.5, 5. And then at 5.5. Okay. This is where we're going to be putting the punch board things in, and then this is going to be a little bit different. So there's going to be quite a bit of this that we cut away, but there's one thing we don't want to do is I don't want to roll back through the lid. Okay, so what I have done is I've made a mark, so I know that this is at 6 inches, and I am only going to take that 6 inches from this side very carefully, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to that score line, and I'm not going to go any further because it's going to look funny. Then I'm going to also go up to, is that 8.5, 7 and, yep. So I would go up to 7.5 because I need my little lid closure. Now you can go ahead and go straight across. It's not going to bother, but all of this is going to be cut away. So I'm just going to show you by laying this down. Do I have my measurements a little bit off? Looks like this is a little bit longer, but I can trim that. Everything else, it looks like I have good. I have it good. So I'm just going to lay this down, and then that way I can show you that we will be getting rid of this, there's another little square in there, this, and then this, and this, and this, okay? All right. So for the folding, you're going to want to be careful that you're not going to be folding this one yet. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to start folding and burnishing the 2, 4, 6, and 8 side. Okay. Now before I forget, before I start doing all, you can do these folds, but I'm just gonna, before I forget and start, you know, just going at it and then folding that over, I'm gonna go ahead, because we're gonna be cutting some of this away, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this square off. You're leaving this one, but I'm cutting this square off. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'm just going to turn it around to that little beveled side, and I'm going to come just on the inside of that beveled line just to get rid of it. So just a smidgen. And then I'm going to end up taking this off, so I'm not worried about going that way. But I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that one. Well, no, let's just go ahead and do the folding so that we don't get confused here. So as I'm folding now, I'm going to fold up, and then I'm going to fold up, and that is the start of my little envelope punch board little notches that I'm going to be putting in there. So remember, we did this one the other way, so I'm going to fold this back on itself so that we get it to lay nice when the time comes. Then I'm going to fold this one completely. Now when I get to this one, obviously this I'm leaving alone now, and I'm just folding this one up. That way I'm sure not to fold into here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that little closure up, and then we're going to come back and start taking some stuff away. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and because I like the little beveled edge, I probably should have put my X's on the other side. For you to see. I usually have this sitting in front of me, and then I double check like 100 times to make sure I got it right. Okay, and those two are gonna go too. Yep. All right, so I'm going to cut into that little, just a little bit slanted, and then I'm gonna cut this away completely. I'm going to cut down this one. And I'm going to cut on this, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to cut down, it doesn't matter on this side. It doesn't matter on either one because these are both going bye-bye. So let's go across first. Let's just get rid of all of those. I don't need them. And I'm going to cut on that side of that little beveled edge because these are all going to be tossed. Don't need them. Now, if you are a scrap keeper, don't want to say hoarder because I've seen many pretty things made out of scraps that people keep. You obviously you could save those little pieces and you can make stuff out of them. All right, so let's come back over here. I'm gonna also, the one in the middle is going, so I'm gonna come down and just take that little part, and I'm gonna ever so slightly take that off. I'm gonna come down now on this one. I'm gonna go straight down the middle of that little bevel. In fact, I'll turn it around to do it on this side. And I'll tell you why, because you don't want to take much off of this, because when you're, am I in the right one? It'd be this one, yeah. Because when your lid closes, you're gonna want that to catch to help keep your lid closed. So I'm gonna do the same thing. At the front, that's getting cut away, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go like that, and then what I like to do is I'll just turn these down and kind of hold it, and then go straight across, if you can see. Okay, if you are doing this for the first time, I would suggest getting out some of your scrap paper and make yourself a template and practice a couple times. Don't use your good stuff right off the bat, because you will ruin it. I've ruined many of them and had to start over, you know, thinking I miss, you know, oh, I'm just the paper whiz and I can just do this in one try and get it. No, not gonna happen. I still make mistakes even now. All right, so now we have this. Now, you could do all your punching before any of this happens, but I'm going to go ahead and do the punching now. Okay. I need to stand up for this one because I need the pressure. So what we're going to do is these first two little lines from the bottom, not the top where the lid is at, where that closure is, we're just going to go in here and punch. And then we're going to turn that in and punch. Okay, and we're going to continue to do this. I first learned this from Intertwined Design, Angelia. I do not believe she is on the internet anymore. Well, I know she's not because all her stuff is gone. But she was the one I would watch mostly to find out how to make the boxes and stuff, because she just always had the best ideas. So kind of miss seeing her designs. I don't know whatever happened to her, but she's not there anymore, and it's sad. And then you end up with this, okay? All right, so we're gonna set that aside because I don't want to put it together until I get my panels on. So let's talk about the panels a little bit. Now, because I've shrunk this down, of course, I've had to readjust the panels. And this one is, I took the bigger piece of paper, I cut this one first. I took the bigger piece of paper, and then this is a 1/2 inch. So I just went up to 7/8 just before the 1/2 inch, and then took that slice off, okay? Because that's what we're going to use for around there. In fact, I'm going to show you on this one. Another thing I do sometimes if I have the bigger sheets of paper is I go around and ink the edges. So at least when I cut one edge, I've got, I have one edge inked up instead of having to hold on to that tiny little edge. So just my preference, but you can do it all at once. So I'm just going to take that little smidgen, and then I'm going to see, is this going to, this might give me enough for all across. So again, I'm going to ink these up before I start cutting. And then I'll talk about what I wanted to do with the other one. Yeah, you're going to have to go back and ink some of the tinier stuff at some point, obviously. But see, it's just so tiny to hold on to. And sometimes my fingers just they don't work that well. Okay, so the measurement here is 2 inches. 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and go to 1 7/8. And I'm going to get that little tiny panel that goes in there, but yet leaves a nice border around the brown. 2 7/8, which this is actually going on the black cardstock. I just thought it would look better. Although it looks good on this one. 1, and I keep saying 2. 1 7/8. 1 7/8. Now, a lot of times when I'm working in, production line, all my pieces will be cut out. I've been known to cut everything out and have like 10 ready to go and just stuff them away. So when I get ready to do a craft show, I go in the next year and I pick out what I want, and I just can glue it all together. It's all ready to go. I think any craft show, the key is preparation, in my opinion. All right, so now I'm going to need 5 panels. Now, this is where you're going to want to watch direction. But on this particular one, all mine are going to go this way. So this is why it doesn't matter, because they're all 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. It's just when you get ready to glue them. So I'm going to go ahead and then, a lot of times I can just I can just ink a whole page without having to stop. And I did that side. Not having to stop, but not having just all these small little pieces. Might as well do this side too, just in case I get one out of there. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 7/8. 1 7/8. This is just going to help me in the end. So 1 7/8. And hopefully I'm going to have enough. Yeah, I think so. Hopefully that's 1 7/8 or close enough. Oh, yeah. All right, so let's turn it this way. And we're going to do the same thing. And I might get exactly what I need out of here. So I don't cut everything up, because, I might be able to use that for something else. 1 7/8. Okay, there's 3 of them. Oh, I can get 4 out of here. No way. That's great. So see, with all of this extra material, I could make 2 of these. Well, maybe not, because I don't have the small pieces. And then we're going to do this, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink up the rest of these edges. And then we're going to lay them down. Okay, so I have all of my pieces, and you can just use the ink of your choice. So when I'm talking about directional, these don't really have a direction. You can put these ones any which way. It doesn't matter to glue them on there. But if you had a direction, you would want them all facing down. But when you turn the top around, because this is going to be up and looking at you, you want to make sure you don't put it in the wrong direction. You want to put it in the right direction, so that if you're looking at the box this way, your piece is not facing backwards. So these ones do not have any direction, in my opinion, so I am just going to start gluing them down. Another thing I'm going to do just before I get started is I like to round the edges of the lid. Okay, let's fix that one. I don't like to mess with them too much, because you don't want to not be able to get your lid to close. If they're not tight enough, it won't close. So basically, I'm going to glue here, I'm going to take my smaller pieces and glue here, glue here. So I'm going to get that done, but there is one step I forgot to mention. Let's go back. Also, we are going to want to take this bottom and we're going to want to go up each side of that little bevel. Otherwise, you won't be able to close your bottom up. So get that done. I hope I'm explaining this okay. You know, sometimes it's you just do and you don't think, and it's hard to explain because you're just so used to doing it that, you know, you're just like, oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh yeah. But you know, like when you're crafting, you're like, oh, I forgot that. And you just go back and do it. And then when you're filming, you're like, well, I want to do every step and every order and make it clean and perfect. Yeah, you're probably not going to find that here. I'm just not that good. Okay. Again, we're going to get everything glued down. Okay. So I'm going to come back to that one after I get the gluing done, but I want to talk about this one. So I had already cut the strip for the top, but what I really wanted to do is I have these, and I think I have enough to, I mean, the picture's big enough to do the 1 7/8. So let's see, if I put this here and I go to 1 7/8, where's that gonna land? See, it lands pretty good. So I could cut that off, right? And then I could do, where would my 1 7/8 land? About right. So I'm going to bring that in just a tiny bit. I'm going to turn that around and see if I can't get my 1 7/8. Oh, see, I messed it up. But that was kind of what I was going to go for, was to try to get, and I could measure it out and everything, but I don't want to. So let me come over here this side. I'll do the handle first where it wouldn't cut the handle off. Then I'll go to 1 7/8. And it's still going to cut off a little bit. But see, that could be my panel. And if I do that with all of these, then I would just have my little panel cups. But yeah, you'd have to work out the measurements in your head. But as for right now, we're going to move on. I am going to get that other stuff glued on, and then I will be back. Okay, I have all of my panels on. So I'm just laying it here so you can see where I've laid them. The tiny strips up here, we're leaving that. And then my 4 blocks, they didn't need to be in any type of direction because they didn't really have one. So now we're going to get this glued together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this part right here. I don't remember if I have to snip that or not. Let me see. No, it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw some glue all around here, especially in this little tiny part right here. I don't want that coming apart. Okay, and then I'm gonna fold this in and fold this over. It's the best way to do it. Don't worry if it looks a little like it's not lining up. It's fine. It's lining up. It's gonna be fine. Be fine. Okay, so we have that. Now, you obviously can cut some of these bottoms off, but I like it to be a little bit sturdy. So looking at it, I'm going to flip it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my back one up first. And actually, I'm going to trim. I see a little bit that needs to be trimmed here. Not much, but just a little. Okay, so I'm going to bring my back one up, and then I'm going to glue. And I'm always gluing towards these edges right here. The rest of it just kind of willy-nilly, but I always want to make sure that edge is down. And then I'm gonna lay down one of my sides, and then I'm just going to check to make sure I'm squaring it up. Okay, and then I'm going to, again, I'm going to make sure that edge is good. I'm going to lay this side down, and then I'm going to glue this. You can glue either way, but I'm going to glue my last piece, my last little tab on the top, and I'm going to set that down. I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm just going to get my bone folder, and I'm just going to stick that down, work that in, okay? And the reason I like to fold the front to the back is because it has a smoother edge, and that's what I'm presenting. So I'm always keeping in mind craft shows, so I want my product to look very nice. Although it's handmade, I want it to look well made. All right, so then we're going to turn that down, and then we're going to put that little lip in there. Now, if you struggle to get the lip in, it's okay. Work with it, because you don't want to shave too much off, because then this won't go down. And it'll loosen up as you go. But if you shave too much off here and too much off here, it gets a little bit loose, like this one. And then I have to keep tucking it down. So just don't shave too much off of these ends, and just work it until you get it in there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the black one. And so what I did was I kind of cut a little bit off, too much off on these when I was explaining it, but I salvaged enough to do my panels. So I'll do the panels like this, and then I'm going to put this, I'll put this one on the lid maybe. Yeah, I'll put this one on the lid, and I think it's going to come out fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get the black one done, and then we're going to come back and talk about what you can put in them. I'll be back. All right, I have them all done, and if you've not skipped ahead to the other video last year, this is what I use these for. First, I wanted to show you this. This is actually a stamp that I have, and then I just have a little punch that punches that shape out. So normally I don't tie everything up until everything's in there, and I try to leave my strings as long as possible. But this is what goes in there. So we're going to get that lid open, and we're going to put a little Keurig cup, and this is just a medium roast coffee. We're going to put that in there, and then that's just going to slip right down to the bottom. So my remeasuring is perfect. And then we're going to put a Ghirardelli treat in the top. And then you have this cute little single coffee Ghirardelli treat that you can pick up. I don't know that I will have these ready for my craft show. I might take just the 3 that I have. But yeah, I just wanted to make a smaller version. If you didn't need 2, but you just wanted to take this to a friend in the hospital or something, then you would just have it available. So I'm going to go ahead and get that bow on there. I try to keep my raffia a little bit longer, and then once I get my bows where I want them and I give all the stuff in there, which I don't in these ones, then I will go back and just trim them off, which I can always get more raffia. I have a lot of it. Okay, so that is what that is for. Now you could also use these for maybe your little Ghirardelli on the top, and then you could put whatever you want in the bottom part of it. So you could put some Hershey Kisses, or like the things that I've been showing you in the other videos. You can put that in there, and then just put your little Ghirardelli or anything that's kind of square like that. But yeah, you have another little gift treat idea to give out. So I hope you found this helpful. I have 2 more left to do, so I'll see you in the next video.